Hello, welcome back to the James Rambling Reviews for yet another episode. And in today's episode, right, this is going to be the part two of that Halloween stuff, right? This continuation of how we did American Psycho. So now we'll do this movie. So the movie I'm going to be reviewing is called Talk to Me, and I'll give you a bit of context as to how I discovered this film, why I'm reviewing this movie. So when it comes to Talk to Me, right, I heard about this movie. It's like this Australian horror movie. I did see the trailer, but then I kind of forgot about what the movie was about and all the stuff that happens and stuff like that. And then I realised that Joe Rogan had the directors of Talk to Me on on his podcast today. So I watched some of that. Was kind of interested, but I didn't watch the whole podcast because I wanted to kind of give my own opinion, get my own opinion on it. You know what I mean? And so not spoil it for myself and stuff like that. So that's kind of why I decided to do this review on Talk to Me. So what is Talk to Me even about? So it's to do with like this hand, right, that possesses people, and then you say talk to me, and then let it inside or something like that, as it said in the movie. And it's kind of about these teenagers that play with this hand, and there's all these different ways and the different ways they react to it and stuff like that. So that's kind of what the film is about. So how do I even feel about this movie? Well, I have to come out and say that this is definitely one of the most like original, unique, authentic, however you want to word it, kind of movies I've seen in a while. Especially because like how the characters actually react differently to when they're possessed. So for example, like the main character reacts differently to how another character would react and stuff like that. And that's one good example about it, right? Good example as to why it's like a very original and authentic thing. And also the fact that it's actually an Australian horror movie. Like, if you told me right now, right, list 50 Australian horror movies, I probably couldn't do it for you. And that's kind of why, right? It's kind of interesting because I've not seen tons of Australian horror movies. Like, it's usually a thing in America where America's all about horror movies and it's quite a big thing over there. So to see that an Australian company and a film producer and all that kind of stuff would actually do this is interesting. And also, it's directed by these people that are actually these YouTubers who did these stunts, which was kind of mentioned in this Joe Rogan podcast that I was watching. Like they were saying they did these stunt videos and they always wanted to write films and do films and stuff like that. And especially for a starting movie, a debut movie for these YouTubers, definitely good, especially considering how this movie was only a 4 million budget film and it made $90 million at the box office. It also came out in July and stuff like that. So I definitely enjoyed the film, right? So I also have to consider, right, we're talking about a horror movie right now. So when it comes to a horror movie, right, what do you expect? You expect a bit of scariness and stuff like that, right? Is this movie actually scary? Yes, there was a few times where I did actually find myself getting a little bit scared and a bit disturbed as to what I was watching. Like there was a lot of these kind of moments where I like jump out of nowhere and all of these kind of things that were happening in the movie sort of made me scared, and it did get a bit gory and stuff like that. I know there's been tons of people that maybe have already discussed their thoughts on the film, but I don't want to spoil this movie because it's such a like a movie that you should go in blind to because it's so original. It has this authentic feel to it that you never really would expect, right? It's not like Exorcist Part 5000. It's not a copy of The Exorcist where it's a typical stereotypical cliche sort of like exorcism, sort of possession film. So I can't really say that sort of thing, and I've found it hard to find a criticism for this movie, right? And I know I try my best to not be biased with my reviews on the review show. I try to kind of be balanced and have an unbiased take. But when a movie is so good at doing something so well, and there's barely anything like negative to say about it, it's like I don't really need to say anything negative about that. But it's not like I'm gonna give this movie a 10 out of 10, right? I'll give the movie like an 8 or 9 out of 10, right? I'm not going to tell you it's the best movie of all time because, as I have established on my own podcast, right, I'm not always the biggest fan of horror movies, but I have been opening my mind to horror films. And if this is a horror movie that you want to go and watch yourself, Definitely go do that. I did watch this on Netflix, and I'm glad it was on Netflix because otherwise I would have had to buy it on like YouTube or Amazon. But even if I bought it at that rate, I wouldn't mind it. Like maybe this could be one of my like horror movies I'm gonna go back to in 2024, where I'm gonna rewatch it and I'm gonna be like, yeah, whenever it's October, it's time to watch this and stuff like that. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of the James Ramble and Reviews, where we had this kind of out of nowhere kind of review on Talk to Me, which is kind of a different contrast compared to our American Psycho review. And this review is a little bit longer than some other reviews, but it doesn't really matter, right? So hope you enjoyed the review. We'll see how many views this gets. I mean, this movie's only been out for a few months, so even who even cares at this point? So yeah, bye. Talk to Me, original, authentic state possession movie and stuff like that. So yeah, bye.